Welcome to this special edition of Wildcat Sports Update. I'm lucky to have with me 5 members of the girls track team who finished undefeated in the Wilmington in the Middlesex Freedom Division. First time in Wilmington history that the girls track team has finished undefeated. We have our 2 captains up front. We have Catherine and we have Amanda, and we have behind there we have Maggie, Amber, and Alessia. Okay, so welcome all and congratulations on the win.
Thank
and
you.
See, I didn't say anything. So first of all, it's from what I hear, it's the first time Wilmington has ever gone undefeated in track and also won the Freedom Division. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, and how? What were your expectations going into the year?
I think coming off of the winter season, we were 4-1. We only lost to Melrose, so we knew we had a strong team, but we also we didn't. There's a lot of unknowns because with the winter we only had dual meets. We weren't sure if we were only going to get those 5 meets or if there were going to be any invitationals. And also going into the season, 4 out of the 5 teams we've never beat in the spring. So we knew we had a big challenge ahead of us. So we were just going to start taking team by team, and we had Burlington first, so that was our focus going into the season.
Okay, now Amanda is also our captain. What was Coach Shell? What were his expectations going in, and how did he drive you guys to get to this 5-0 status?
I think just like Katie said, he had us focus 1 meet at a time, 1 team at a time. We worried about whatever meet we had that week going into it. We weren't looking at it in the broad scheme of things. Like each meet was just that meet only. Like the week of Burlington, we were looking at Burlington and so on and so forth. I think he knew we could do it, and I think he pushed us to focus on what we could control and what we could win. And I think him pushing us to just focus 1 meet at a time really helped us stay focused on the main goal.
Okay, so what was the moment you knew that you were going to win the championship?
I think definitely after we beat Melrose, which was our 3rd meet of the season, because they were the only team we lost to in winter, and they've been undefeated for 3 years. And after we beat them, I think we all kind of had a collective aha moment, we're going to win, this is it.
Okay, and was there a celebration after that, or did you keep focusing on the future, that you had 2 more meets to go and you keep winning those?
We definitely celebrated a little bit after Melrose, but we still came back super strong with Watertown our next meet. Even though they're not the toughest of teams, we still had a bunch of people come and PR and keep running those great times. I think that really steered us into Stoneham, which again was our last meet. So having us stay really focused even just for Watertown helped keep us on track.
Okay, let's go back to Katie real quick. The makeup of the team, we have 4 seniors because all 4 of you are here. I would imagine it was relatively young.
Yes.
And how did that play into your role as a captain to lead that team to get us to where we got?
I think it was definitely more of a challenge to have a lot of younger people on our team because me and Amanda have talked about this many times. It's hard because some of the younger kids crack under pressure, you could say, and whereas other ones thrive off the pressure. So it was definitely a challenge as a captain to understand who needed what motivation and how to talk to each individual, whereas knowing even if we needed the points for the next race or whatever, to make sure that they felt comfortable and strong enough that they could do it and not feel the incredible pressure of it, that they needed to perform really well, that they still felt comfortable and capable of whatever they needed to do. So definitely a challenge, but it was really cool to have a lot of younger kids. Gives me hope for the future seasons as well.
That's awesome. Now, real quickly, you are track and field. So
Yes.
there are 4 different technically disciplines. There's distance, there's sprinting, there's in the field events, there's throwing and jumping. So because you probably all specialize in one certain area, how as a captain, and I think you were a distance or?
Yeah, middle distance, yeah.
How as a middle distance runner did you impact thrower or the young throwers per se?
It was definitely a lot harder. I would say a lot of the thrower seniors, I think they also helped up and took those roles because we were definitely more separated at practice where the throwers would go and do all their throwing and we would run it. So I definitely think, I'm not taking all the credit, a lot of the senior throwers definitely stepped up and helped me with that immensely.
Okay, let's go back to Amanda as the junior captain. And you're going to be back next year. What did you take away, and what did you learn from these 4 seniors that are with us?
I think just watching them conduct themselves with the younger girls and watching how they stepped up to lead at crucial moments where there was a lot of pressure really helped me understand how next year I'm going to have to come back and kind of do the same for the new kids. especially Katie, because I've been running with her for so long. Like, seeing her be so, like, encouraging towards all the younger girls and making sure they knew what they needed to do really is going to help me next year coming in. And, like, obviously I won't have Katie to lean on. I have to do it myself.
Okay, and then just generally as we finish up with the captains in this season, last year there was no spring track. And COVID's been, again, for all our 4 seniors, it's been with you for your whole year. How did that impact, you think, the season? You know, the mask at the beginning, practices, not being able to have team dinners. How did you mitigate all that circumstance?
I think trying to focus on what we can control was really helpful for us, because obviously all of us were like frustrated with everything going on and the fact that we couldn't have invitationals, and in the fall too had to wear masks. It was frustrating, but I think we focused on like our own personal times as well as the team. And I think like focusing on everything we could control and everything we could handle really helped, and like try not to look at outside circumstances, and tried to come back from missing a year and like get all those points and all that kind of times we missed last spring, especially because we came off a really good winter season before spring got canceled. So I think a lot of that frustration also came into the season, where it's like we want to win again because we could have last year.
Oh, good. So now we have our 3 other seniors. So you only had 4 seniors in the background. I'm going to ask you to hand the microphone back to Maggie. It's Maggie Bourgeois, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how long have you been with Wilmington Track?
I've been doing this since freshman year.
Freshman year. And what events do you participate in?
In the winter seasons, my like main event has always been the 600, and then in spring, I used to do the 400 a lot. This season, I did a little bit shorter distance and focused on jumping mainly.
Okay, and is this the first time you've been here for freshman year that you've won the league? So what was your feeling going into the season and when you beat Melrose?
I was super excited going into the season because we have a really strong team, and I knew that. And we were so small, but like so close knit, and everyone looked so promising, especially like the incoming freshmen, all the young ones. I was excited, and I knew we could do it. I think we all did, including Shell. And it was awesome just to feel that after past years of it never happening, and we came so close like last year. So yeah, I was excited.
Just to update everybody, Shell is Coach Brian Shell, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and a motivator of young talent, I imagine, to get to 5-0. I know I had seen him in passing, and he's very proud of his team and what you guys have accomplished this year. So let's pass it on to Amber Flynn. Amber, real quickly, how long have you been running track and events that you do?
I started as a sophomore, and I started as a runner, and throughout the seasons I slowly switched to throwing, and this season I only threw. And this season I did discus and shot put.
Okay, and are you better discus or shot?
Definitely discus.
And how would you do in the league meet? We just had the league meet yesterday. The team finished in 4th. How did you do in the overall?
I got 2nd overall for discus.
So you ready to go on to states?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Okay, now any other sports that you play at Wilmington?
I play soccer.
Okay, and what is your takeaway from the year? So we had 3 champions this spring. One was the girls track team. What did you feel like going into the season as a thrower, and how did you feel when we finally accomplished this?
Going in, I knew I didn't do the fall 2 season, but I went to a lot of the meets and saw how much potential the team had and how close all the meets were. And in previous years, we would lose a meet earlier in the season, so we knew the league championship was probably out of question, so we focused more individually. But going into the season, we all knew that it was going to be more of a team season, so there's a lot more strategy going on rather than working on individual performance. So it was kind of cool to see how that worked throughout the season too. It wasn't just try and do your best in every event, it was who could do better in this event, more for the points rather than individually.
Okay, good. So we're going on to Alessia Puccio. And Alessia, events that you do, and how long have you been running track?
So I started my freshman year. I've only done spring track, though I never did it the winter seasons. And I started out thinking that I was going to be a sprinter. And when you go to track, everyone runs, and everyone's really fast. And you're usually not very fast if you're just naturally not very good. So I walked in thinking I was going to like running. It did not turn out that way, unfortunately. So I ended up picking up javelin. So freshman year, I ran the 100, and then I threw javelin, and I loved javelin. So then my sophomore year, I just focused on javelin. And then I came to captain's practices before COVID for the next spring season. I was so excited, and I was practicing discus. And I liked that too. I was like, okay, I'll do disc and jab. And then the season was canceled, but this year I was able to do disc and jab.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a little bit different question. Is the season with COVID in spring and all that stuff, what's it feel like to go out as we'll call it, as a champion?
It's exciting. It might have been more exciting than graduation itself, to be honest. It just like didn't feel real. Everyone got so excited after the Melrose meet. They're like, yes, like we got this. And I was like, wait, I don't think we got this. Stonham's pretty good. I saw those numbers. It didn't feel real. And even though, like I saw, we kept winning all these events, we were racking up all these points in running, and throwing was last. And I was like, oh no, oh God, I have to do so good in throwing. But we had already won at that point. It didn't even matter, but it just didn't feel real until the end.
That's really good to hear. And as individually, you had to do good, but the team winning made it a little bit easier to throw the javelin that last meet.
Yeah, I ended up doing really well. I PR'd in both of my events.
That's very good.
So
Okay,
that
let's
was
go
very
up front. We're going to ask. I'm going to pass this around because everyone. We talked about the coach, and he's a very big motivator. He's a very big proponent of track and field, and pushing both cross country and spring track. What's one thing, Katie, that you'll take away from Coach Shell?
I'll just take away how he's one to lead by example, because he's not one to just tell us what to do. He's right there next to us, always running the times with us. So I'll really ever be in awe of that, because I think we're really lucky as a team to have that, because most coaches don't run with their athletes, and I think that's incredible, and I think it helps us immensely, because having someone just to tell you to go run a time, it's really hard to know even how to do that. But when he's next to you just being like, follow me, it's so much easier. So I'll definitely take away how he's one to lead by example, and instead of just telling us what to do, he shows us how to do it, and I'll never be more grateful for that.
Okay, and because I missed this earlier, what events do you do?
Oh, I do 400 hurdles and 800 in spring, and then I do the 1,000 in the winter.
And sports, you did cross country, you said?
Yep, cross
Okay,
country.
so you did cross country, and you were a runner the whole way through then?
Yeah, I did soccer my first 2 years, and then I switched to cross country my junior year.
Okay, so Amanda, you're going to get to say, we're going to get all five of you. Give me just one thing you learned from Coach Shell.
I think my biggest thing I'm going to take away from him is just how you have to be your own biggest motivator. Anyone can be telling you can run these times, you can throw this, or you can jump this, but he's really instilled in me that I have to believe in myself to be able to do it. And I feel I've gained so much self-confidence through him. He's always been telling me it's your mind that's going to be able to let you do it. And I think that's really big to hear, especially from someone who you look up to, like a coach, that you're your only barrier. And I think having him really helped me break through that.
Okay, what events again? I missed my two captain's events. What events do you do?
I run the 400 and the 4x4 in spring, and in the winter I run the 300 and the 4x4.
Okay, let's go back to Maggie real quickly. Coach Shell, give him a shout out. Here we go.
Shell is the most dedicated and supportive coach I've ever met in my entire life, ever had. He truly believes in every single one of us. And I think that's really inspiring and super encouraging for athletes. I was going into winter track my freshman year. It was my first track season. I really thought I was going to go back to soccer, but I couldn't. I just went to cross country immediately and did running all through the rest, just because I didn't feel that support in soccer, and that was a really big reason.
Okay, Amber?
I'd say probably how he keeps us focused on the present, because going into the season, it could be overwhelming looking at 4 teams we've never beaten before in the spring, but he took it meet by meet. And even once we beat Melrose and we were all celebrating, he still kept us focused, saying we still have Stoneham, they're still a good team. So he knew we were capable of it, and he made sure we focused on each meet separately, not to overwhelm ourselves or put too much pressure on ourselves, because he knew we could do it.
Okay, and Leslie, you got to go after we had 4 answers now. See if we can sneak something new out of you.
Yeah, I got his quote that he always says to us. He says, "I'll believe it when I see it." Like, I'll be like, Shell, look, you won't believe it. I threw so far practice. He's like, oh, yeah? I'll believe it when I see it. They're like, oh, I ran so... I'll believe it when I see it. So I think that's, like, that really helped this season. Like, we were on, like, the high, like, oh, like, I don't know if we can beat Burlington. We beat Burlington. Like, we kept going every meet. And he was like, don't forget, we still have these other teams. Like, and he kept saying, too, on paper, there was meets where we lost on paper. Like, you look at the other teams' PRs versus our PRs, and we lost. But then we go to the meet, and then we step up. Or on paper, we'd be winning. And he'd be like, you know what happens. It's not always up to paper. And I think that was also really important. Like, you can't, like, you didn't win yet, or you didn't lose yet. You have to just focus on the present.
Okay, you keep the mic. Track highlight from this year, and then your overall career in track.
Definitely watching the Melrose coach cry at the Melrose meet would absolutely be my highlight. That was awesome.
And just overall one.
Probably my discus PR at our last meet.
Okay.
Would probably be
We'll do the highlight right around the back and through the front. So we'll go with Amber. Highlight one this year and overall.
This year, I would say it's definitely the moment we realized we won, and we were all just celebrating and cheering, and it was very exciting. Everyone was so happy about it. And then out of all the years, it's probably just the amount of times the track team, both boys and girls, have just hung out outside of track because everyone's so close, and all the memories we made after meets or after practices. It's just been a fun group.
Okay. Maggie?
The highlight of this season for me was definitely the Melrose win. When Shell said congratulations and we all started jumping up and cheering and hugging each other. It was such a great moment. And then overall, my favorite track moment was probably last year's winter season when the 4x8 team placed at States. We got 4th place, and we were so pumped. It was so exciting. And, yeah, that's one of my favorite days ever. I'll never forget that.
Okay, let's come down to Amanda.
I think from this season, again, it's going to be the Melrose win. It was just too sweet to overlook. And I think personally for me, throughout all seasons, it was my PR of breaking 60 in the 400, our last meet.
Okay, Katie, you're going to go last, and then...
I would say, like everybody else, beating Melrose was incredible because, like, the past 4 years, it's always like, if we go 4-1 or if we've gone like 3-2, it's always Melrose is always one of the ones that like we lost to, and even coming into the season, we lost to Melrose. So finally, like hitting that wall down and beating them was a moment I'll never forget. And then I would say overall, like what Maggie said, medaling in the 4x8 at States was very surreal because my sophomore year, it was the first time I've ever ran an 800 was in the 4x8 at States. So then a year later to be able to run like my best time I've ever ran and to be able to medal with some of my closest friends, it was very fun, very fun.
That's great. Now, real quickly, because in baseball and basketball and soccer, there's a scoreboard. We know it's 5-1. We know it's 3-2.
Yeah.
In track and cross country, how's the scoring work? And how do you, because are you all gathered around watching somebody tally it up and you finally win? How does that work?
Well, in track, you get 5 points if you get first, 3 points if you get second, and then 1 point if you get third, and then the rest don't score. And then Shell does not like us to know anything. So if we want to try to figure out if we're winning, we have to do the math in our head and try to remember what places we got. But we typically don't know until the very, very end because he likes to have his moment to tell us if we won or not because he always likes to make us think we lost. He always is like, well, get him next time, and then he loves to tell us that we won. So we never know. We like to try to guess. Sometimes we're pretty close. Or like at the end, we're like, we think we won. We think we did it. But then we're like, I don't know. Shell's always seeming sad. Like he always likes to leave us guessing. So, and then cross country points, I still don't know. Shell might be mad at me saying it. I don't know. It's like golf. The lower points win, but the scoring.
So you have to wait
it's
till
very hard.
In reality, we have to wait till the end till we know who won.
Yeah, cross country, it's always if you get first, second, third, it's automatic win. But other than that, you have to wait till the very end to figure out. And
So question for the group then, you had 5 league meets.
Mm-hmm.
How confident were you in towards the end of all 5 of those that you were going to win, and how much did he really keep that like down? I'll let you answer, and if everybody else wants to say anything.
I think Watertown was the only meet that we finished confident at. Burlington, they're always like one of our toughest competitors. Are always the first meet, so we know like once the season starts, like that's when we have to start grinding because we know we only had like a week before we had Burlington, so we know we had to start training hard. And then Burlington, I think it was up until the very end that we didn't know. And then pretty much same with every meet. Every time the meets were going to come down, they were really close, and we knew we had every time was going to be hard. So I think Watertown might have been the only one where we were 100% confident we would beat them.
Okay, let's go to Amanda real quick. Now we have the 4 seniors here. What one word would the 4 of them or your team use to describe you?
Describe me? Oh, I don't know. I would hope empowering, because I feel like I'm someone that people can look to, or at least I hope someone I can look to and like look for encouragement and look at like leading by example and trying to like race my best time and encourage people, like not even just like people I run with, but throwers and jumpers and everyone. Like I hope that would be a word they would use.
Okay, Maggie, how about you? What was one thing they would use to describe you as a teammate?
Probably cheerleader. I love cheering people on. It's my favorite part, and I love getting excited for people, so I hope people see that and appreciate that.
Okay, Amber?
Hopefully supportive, like in practice and in meets, just helping other people get better, not only focusing on myself, but cheering for everyone else.
Okay, Alessia?
I have to think. I don't really know.
We have time.
Just like, I guess maybe just like in a good, like in some kind of good light. Like I know I'm not the one scoring at every meet. Like it's like I'm not like this powerhouse. Like we got Amanda over here scoring all these meets. So I would hope that they would like see me as like a contributor. Like even if it's like just like a cheerleader like Maggie.
Katie, you're next.
I would probably have to say motivator, because I feel like everyone on the team, I like to think that I'm like the mom of the team, that I love helping everybody, and like prior to races, like nerves can creep up on a lot of people and it can hit them hard, and I love to be the one to like be there and help them, and also even in practices to lead by example and always do more or be extra, but I hope that they would say I'm the motivator of the team.
Okay, so if you're coming out of the locker room, what's your walk-up song? What song do you want to play to motivate you to go?
I would probably say "The Spins" by Mac Miller.
Okay.
I love that song.
And we're gonna go right around. Let's go right around to Amanda.
I think mine would be OMG by will.i.am. It's a big one.
Okay, Maggie.
Definitely Eye of the Tiger. Favorite pump-up song ever.
Okay, Amber.
Probably Power by Kanye.
Okay.
Mine's a team favorite, Bad Romance by Lady Gaga.
Okay. And just real quickly, just on your team, who's the funniest, goofiest person on the whole team? You take the whole unit. Who's we're going to sing and it's going to make you guys laugh when you need to laugh?
I would say Maggie. I would also say, because you can always count on her to laugh at anything you say. Like, even if it's like the dumbest joke and everyone just looks at you with like a blank face, Maggie will be the one to be laughing at you. She's always makes us feel better because she will always be there laughing and making the jokes.
Okay, so then Amanda, who's the loudest? Who can you always hear?
Oh, I'm going to have to say Sarah Levita or Maddie Mullis. Either one of those two. They're always chatting, always yelling, and it's always so supportive, too, so it's great to hear.
Okay, Maggie, who's got the best non-track talent, like who can sing well, who can dance? Who sticks out in your mind? Like, did you really give it a shout out to?
This one over here, Amber's very multi-talented. She's super smart. She's a beautiful singer. She doesn't like people know that, but I'm going to share it. And yeah, she's a great soccer player, athlete, everything.
Okay, and Amber, since you've been athletes, who's the longest teammate that you've played with on your team? Who have you been together with for the longest period of time?
For high school, definitely Amanda, because we
Okay.
play both soccer and track. Since she was a freshman and I was a sophomore starting track, we've been on the team together throughout all 3 years. So
Okay, good. And Alessa, who's the most serious? Who's downright focused, serious? Can't say Coach Shell.
Shay comes to mind, but I think Shay, she can like be giggly though, so she's not like always serious. But I'd say, I think she's probably one of the most focused, and I think she like keeps her composure, but she still knows like when to have fun and like when to enjoy the moment. Oh, Shay Cushing.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, now we're in the moment where we get to talk to the, and I'm not going to avoid Amanda, but we want to just do a real quick shout out. We got about 2 minutes to go through. What are your, Alessia, what are your plans for the future?
I'm going to Merrimack College.
Okay, and you're going to study, what are you going to plan to study?
I'm going to be in the Honors College, and I'm studying elementary education.
And what are you going to miss the most about spring track?
I don't know. It's like a combination of everything, the team, just the sport in general, like being able to like keep going, keep improving, and the wins.
Okay. Amber, what's the future plans? What are you going to study?
I'm going to be in the honors program at RIT studying biomedical engineering and playing soccer.
Okay, and what are you going to miss the most?
I think the comfort of knowing that all your friends are right in the same town and you'll see them every day.
Okay.
I'll be attending UMass Lowell for the next 4 years studying elementary education like Alessia. And I think I'll miss the team the most.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. And we'll come down here to Katie.
I'm going to UMass Amherst studying nursing, and like Maggie said, I think it's just the people. It's this team, and the bond is unmatched, and I know I'll never find it like anything like it. But it's comforting knowing coming home they'll all still be here, but that's something that I will miss greatly.
Okay, hold on to the mic, look straight into the camera here, and give a shout out to whoever you want to give a shout out to.
I want to give a shout out to my team, Shell, and all my friends and family that have come and watched me and supported me through all the past 4 years.
Okay, Amanda, shout out to anybody you want. Right this camera here.
I definitely want to give a shout out, like Katie said, to my team, Coach Shell, Coach Wilson, all of the coaches, and definitely my mom and dad who've been there through every meet and pushing me even like behind the scenes when I wasn't at practice.
Maggie?
I want to give a shout out to Coach Shell. He's the best, and my parents have been my biggest supporters as always.
Amber?
Definitely Shell and Wilson, who push us at practice every day, and then all my friends and family who come to all the meets and cheer me on.
Alessia?
I want to give a shout out to definitely Coach Wilson. He was a really big supporter, especially for us throwers, and obviously Coach Shell and my older sister Sophia for getting me into track.
All right, I'd like to thank the girls from the track team and congratulate you on Middlesex Freedom Division Championship and undefeated season. For Wildcat Sports Update, this is Jim Boyle, and we'll see you on down the road.